saying the preservation of hip hop music, and right now there's such a decline in that. It's almost like the work that you guys have done and the guys before you have done, the building blocks are being torn down, so to speak.
You think so?
How do we counteract that, Chuck?
Well, number one, I always said, if you want to talk about hip-hop and rap music and you only live in America and only know that, you're limiting yourself. The rest of the world is vibrant with hip-hop. Public Enemy is probably the most traveled group ever over 28 years. And that's 101 countries. So if you expect that change is going to be in America, I mean, what book have you been reading?
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
United States of America is a big place, so culturally it's fragmented all over the place. There's 300 million people there, so movements could come up and spark up and then die back down. So hip hop has been an area that hasn't really been taught as culture universally in the school systems and the neighborhoods and the community. I got a saying that if the community doesn't support the arts, then the arts can't be expected to support the community, or it can't protect the community. So I think hip-hop and rap music as an art form in the United States of America needs to be curated by people that's able to curate, like you guys. If you don't take care of something, you don't expect it to get better by itself.
Yeah.
That's true. It's not an automatic thing. It's not on auto.
That's right. True. A lot of people, they don't know about, DJ Ready Red and his accomplishments and stuff like that. We've had him on the show several times, and I've seen an interview you did with DJ Ready Red.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What do you think of him and, other guys like him, Mr. Mix, who don't really get the shine that they should be getting?
Well, number one, there's been a de-emphasizing of the hip-hop DJ in particular, and especially black DJ. In the beginning, you have black and Latinos that understood that DJ was part of the elements that was necessary to keep the event of hip-hop going for a long period of time. The MC had to get on to the DJ's time and had to adapt to what the DJ had to have happen. And some of that was depicted even in Straight Outta Compton, new movie. But, Dr. Dre started out as a DJ. DJs, controlled the crowd, and then it was up to MCs to move the crowd. And dancers kept the crowd interested and brought the people there. You know what I'm saying? So all the elements were in motion. And when you look at a band, let's say if you look at a rock band, you got the elements of the emotion that keeps you interested. The drummer, the guitar, the bass, if they want to have keyboards, and the vocalist, if they have it, it's all in sync. So therefore, it's panoramic. And you're looking at it, you're like, yo, this is coming from all these different areas, but it's all in sync. Well, that's how the elements used to work in hip-hop, with the MC and the DJ and the dance, and also, the graffiti, which kind of was part of the graphic expression to get you noticing the thing in the first place. So that's why group efforts are always important. So if you look at the corporate takeover of hip-hop, the first thing that they succeeded in putting a nail in a coffin that probably won't never close is like getting rid of groups and making individuals shine. And I think individuals, it's a great, you can get somebody's interest for 20 minutes, but after that, you got to come up with something to entertain a crowd looking at one person.
Yeah.
Right, and what you mentioned in the Straight Outta Compton movie, do you think, like, with the success of this movie, it'll open up doors for other biopics to be made of other groups, as far as like Public Enemy or even the Ghetto Boys or some other things? Is there anything that you think like people will have more interest in now, because like the trend? It's like the trend now. Everybody want to be Straight Outta Compton. Do you ever think that there'll be open avenues for it to be like a Public Enemy movie or a Two Live Crew movie, or
nah?
Or do you don't think it's
Public Enemy? I mean, look, man, we're a recording group that persevered the odds of 28 years in a row. We ain't broke up. Our dramas are not the same. In Hollywood, green lights, black drama, drama. Look, I mean, you had beef, you had drama, you had sex, you had death, and you had hip-hop and all that. And you had star appeal, because every time you look out Straight Outta Compton, boom, you saw PE, then you saw what? You saw Snoop, then you saw Tupac. I mean, so they had everything in that movie. And let me tell you this, it's like that movie took 2 years for them to try to, like, I mean, really fight Hollywood to have happen, because Hollywood came with all this doubt. So it was 2 years. And you talking about pros like Cube, and you talking about a pro like F. Gary Gray to make that happen. Now, we know that things are going to be probably easier, and movies will be done quicker. But Straight Outta Compton and NWA was a perfect storm. They didn't exist long as a group.
Right.
Their story as a movie fits more of a movie than it probably did as a group. You know, it self-destructed after 3 or 4 years. You know, there's no story to Public Enemy other than the black guys win in the end. Ain't no story in that. Black guys winning in the end, and then and having international prowess. It's like Hollywood can't sell that. The only way it can actually move is like when people come to our concert and they see us really rock for 2 hours, and they say, well, yeah, you can't get that out of anybody else. You won't be able to get that out of NWA because they're more of a movie and a story than they are as an act in a group. And I'm pretty sure Dre and Cube and Ren, they cool with that legacy. I mean, also with the movie, just in closing, it was cool how Cube and F. Gary Gray and Dre and Ren and all and Yella, they made it look like, this is us coming through this. We wouldn't be accepted. So we dealt with what was on the floor. We dealt with the shaky deals. We dealt with the shakiness of these cats coming in. All we wanted to do was music. They wouldn't accept us coming through the good route, so we had to come through a real route. And at the end of the day, we was caught up some time when we were young and we was tripping, and we came out of that, and that, we got to look back on it. We can't go back to that. If we do go back to it, it's going to be a film, and that's what that was.
Yeah. I never even looked at it like that till you just broke that down.
Well,
because I thought with the success of the movie that, what I'm saying, like it'll make with Hollywood know that it's profitable for them to make, because this Compton movie is the #1 movie. Like, would it be like a trend to make the next movie for the next group or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
It ain't the amount of, nobody has the amount of combination of drama, beef, turmoil. The only one that comes close to that is probably Tupac.
Yeah.
But Tupac's one person, so you got to get into that one person. And John Singleton was already working on that, and he said it was hell just being able to get the things to line up. And this is John Singleton, so I'm here to tell people, this Public Enemy works as a documentary series. It might work as a mini-series. It doesn't work as a movie, not like that. And matter of fact, people will only be disappointed that it ain't a Straight Outta Compton, because it just can't be.
Yeah, you sure know what to say.
You guys have always fought the power, Chuck, and you're doing that today. You got a new album coming out. Tell the folks about the new album, but first, what I'm saying, with you guys continuing, to fight the power and stand up for people, what I'm saying, how do you balance that with being at the top of the industry, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That's as high as you can get. You've seen it all in the industry, I would imagine. How do you balance the two?
Well, I do RapStation.com, and at the same time, I do a radio network where we have 10 station channels, so we always paying attention to seeing the ones that want to come in and come up. They local, which gets no love, and on radio and all the areas. Global, which is international, which gets no love in the United States of America. Women, so many women doing hip-hop, rhyming and producing. At the end of the day, they're going to talk about just Nicki Minaj like nobody else happens. Well, that's just how United States of America looks at things that they're not a part of, or things that's not a part of them. They kind of limit and truncate it down. So that always keeps me in tune, and also going to different places in the world, seeing hip-hop for the last 30 years keeps me in tune. I've always come back to the United States knowing that it's only going to be what it's going to be, and if it grows, it's going to grow in one area and not grow in another area. It's a big place here.
Yeah.
I live east, west, and south, so I'm able to see. I'm able to get dialogue from New York, Atlanta, play face to face and place to place. So.
Do you miss the days of distinction in rap music, where you knew that somebody was from Detroit or somebody was from New York? Where now it kind of sounds like you don't know where the fuck anybody is from.
No, not really. I miss groups more than anything. Because I think when you have a group, you have a dynamic coming from an area that's gonna bring that out anyway. If it's just one person and they trying to like be where they ain't from, how do you know that they ain't got a little bit of that in them? But a group spreads and balances all that out.
True.
Because there's gonna be some kind of hometown dynamic that somebody in the group is gonna have. So, I mean, like I said, the Straight Outta Compton, NWA is a perfect example. These are from 4 to 5. These are 5 guys that, when you looked at them, you said, well, you know what? There's a Compton there. There's a South Central LA in there. There's no doubt that this is Southern California, and also some things that they got in their family line that comes from the South. That I mean, when Dre used to actually make those swap meet tapes, he used to put all those. He used to put all those records that were singles on one tape and then sell the tapes and the swap meets that would have all the joints on it, because before then you couldn't get all them joints on cassette. They were 12 inches. So you go out to the West Coast, and in the swap meets they have all the joints from the East on one tape. Well, Dre was one of those guys that made those tapes too. So with those the type of dynamics, you know who's going to come from where when you have a group effort. When it's individuals, they could kind of disguise their thing. Now, the other thing is programmers. The programmers that if they really seriously are thinking more about their boss instead of what they're doing with the genre, then they're going to follow ratings. They're going to follow where the money goes instead of where the craft and the culture go. That's been a problem.
Yeah. I would say so too, because really it ain't. I always feel like not the new age DJ. They not trying to break records. They just trying to play what they being told to play. And when we was growing up, coming up, it was like the DJs you looked at was the ones who was playing the new music, or they had your record first before somebody else's to like set themselves apart. It was like the DJs looking to break new music, and I don't see a lot of that. It's almost like a pay for play type of deal. And I live in St. Louis, and it's like that all day long. There's no local force on the radio here in St. Louis unless Nelly decides to drop an album or something with Nelly stamp on it. But it's so much more in St. Louis
of course,
than just Nelly. And not to take nothing away from Nelly, but
there's
more to it than just that,
Yeah, Mac, there's always been some activity in the St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, East St. Louis area. It's always been. It's been ignored. So much talent has been there. They had to go to Chicago, had to go to Texas, had to go to New York or California to get put on, so to say, or get noticed. It's been a crime when you had St. Louis radio that always had the concerts coming through there. You always had the radio stations. You had cats out there that always played. My man G Wiz out there. You had people like what's his name, Jockenstein, that was out there. So you had all that going on, and then you understand that the DJs also knew that there was records before rap. That the DJs today, they don't really know too many records that came before rap, so they can't make a lot of comparisons. And even though they might have 10,000 songs in Serato, it's not about having the songs, it's about knowing what the songs could do. Yeah. So the DJ always has to be at the core. If the DJ is not at the core of figuring out where the music goes, then you have MCs leading it. And MCs don't have enough to lead it because all they are is a voice. So if you don't put a mind to a voice, that truck could go off into any ditch at any time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you ain't lying. You sure know what to say. But it's like you guys made timeless records. I could just put on any streaming site. You go to anyone, you put Public Enemy Radio on. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the song is, it's gonna come off and it's gonna be just like the first time you heard it. How do you feel if all this was to end today? Like, what would you want to be known for in your stamp in the game and the culture? So service. And that's my only goal. How much can I service? How can I service
service you guys to make you feel like you're doing your job and duty and love better? How can if I'm a part of any concert, how can I make other artists understand that, people have been digging you for years, so when you go in front of them, don't disappoint them. I mean, I was just talking to a friend who works in the hospital units, and I come from a time where when you was an artist, you couldn't go to a town and not go to a school or go to a hospital or figure out how you can, figure out something in the town to give back and help out before you got down. And that's one of the biggest things that's missing, because the record companies abandoned that a long time ago. They don't care. They don't consider themselves family. And once the management's turned into my man and them, and then the other side is you got the Jerry Heller story. So at the end of the day, the community is looked upon as somebody who just got to end up paying for that appearance or paying for that record or paying for whatever. But where's the give back? And when somebody says, well, I ran out of things to say, I ran out of things to do. Well, Kanye, you can go to a hospital ward unit and get down for a bunch of kids, and they'll never, ever forget it, even if their time is ending a week later. Those are the type of things that, I remember one time I saw this clip. I don't know if you can see it on YouTube, but Gladys Knight and the Pips went to the hospital unit, VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, and they just come back from Vietnam. And a lot of them wasn't getting up out of there anytime soon, but Gladys Knight and the Pips did a full blast performance in this hospital ward. I mean, cats with one leg, they had their shoulders blown off, man. They were showing bandages on their head, and they had the smiles because Gladys Knight and the Pips put it down, full show in the middle of a hospital. That's something I want to be able to see if we can bring back those service areas to artists, knowing that they have to do that. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. You just ain't the boss because you got signed to a corporation.
Right. And y'all been putting it down for years, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm always salute that. And I always love it because when my kids, because they into what's on the radio right now, and they look at my music maybe the same way I looked at my parents' music, and I gravitated towards my parents' music as I got older and understood where my music was coming from, my parents' music pretty much. And I feel like my kids not getting that chance right now because the newer generation, it's like technology is good for us, but it feel like it hurt us at the same time because we so dependent on the technology instead of the art and the craft of creating.
Well, I'm not going to be in the area of complaining about this or that. All you want to say is that if their favorite is Fetty Wap, then Fetty Wap, when they come to St. Louis, do they have a remote chance of meeting this person and that person changing their life for the better? That's the bottom line, Mac. That's bottom line.
I agree with that right there because, you got to derive something out of the music. My favorite artist, one of my favorite artists is Carrie Know out of Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is a lyrical beast, but he's full of substance and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much people can learn from him, but his music is, cock-blocked by, the powers that be. But,
well, that will happen, bro. You know that will happen. But, the thing is that sometimes we just can't rely on those things that we're being rejected on. There's always a place to go.
Yeah.
There's always a person to change their life, no matter even if their music is about whatever. Can you come outside that music for a second and make it happen? I used to always say this, like, all right, boom, you gangster. If you gangster, can we set up a prison tour with you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be like Johnny Cash. You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to say that, Johnny Cash.
Well, Ice-T is the closest we have to that. Because Ice-T used to set up prison tours, man. People would say what they want to say about Iceberg. Man, he would go into a prison, man. We would go into a prison, and he really, I got from him, and he would go over like, yo, man, he just had a way to go inside of a prison and make sure every single person was somebody. And said, look, I know you're in here for whatever, man, but it ain't about being in here. It's about being out. And see if you can take these experiences to change people that you see or you do, whatever.
He's real humble.
And the biggest complaint, of course, by people who are locked down is that, okay, I got locked down for doing a real thing. I really don't want somebody up here who's in the studio only doing this. They're never coming out in the real life. And if you about that world, about that life, then I need to see you give back somewhere. Even Robin Hood robbed, whatever. He robbed the rich, gave to the poor, but he didn't rob the hood.
Yeah.
Right.
Same with John Dillinger, Jesse James, all the greats.
Right. So I'm saying even when somebody says somebody has a negative aspect of their music, where's the give back?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree completely. When you bought a Ghetto Boys record back in the day, you heard songs like City Under Siege.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got knowledge and you were able to gain something, and you could pass that on to people in future generations. Now this new record, Chuck, is Professor Griff on there rapping with you, or?
Yeah, but he opens up the song "Man Plans God Laughs." That's 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Probably one of the shortest songs ever, and it's like really quite clear, man. The whole album is 29 minutes. The whole thing is like, how should a 55-year-old MC spit? Yeah. Number one, got to be like that uncle on the porch. If the uncle is sitting on the porch, right, you know he ain't number one. He ain't giving you the whole chop up word thing. Yeah. That's what a 22, 30-year-old MC probably do. Like, da-da-da-da-da-da. This ain't that. When your uncle actually trying to tell you something, he's telling you as few words as possible, and he's telling you words that count. And that's pretty much what this album does on really wild sonic templates that's easy for us to perform. Yeah. Don't you know, I just heard this recent commentary from my man Brad Jordan, aka Scarface, who I wrote the foreword for his book. And he coming out with Deeply Rooted next week. And he was doing this interview. He said, you know what, I know my lane. I ain't trying to be the 15-year-old kid in the sandbox.
Yeah. Because we ain't even gonna be able to stand back up after you get down in that goddamn sandbox.
Well, you know, and Brad is one of my little brothers. You know what I'm saying? So he in the 40 zone. I'm 55, man. So I'm saying, regardless of whoever you find, you ain't gonna find many cats that's 55. Ice-T has been there, and you know that's it. I'm older than Melly Mel, so I mean, really, seriously, I ain't too many. I'm in rarefied air, so you could say whatever about whoever. But I think, you know, when I did Man Plans God Laughs with Griff opening up and me rhyming, that's 110 years, and Flavor's 56. So,
right, I'm about to say y'all made it to grandfather. Y'all like grandfather hip hop.
You know, grandfather hip hop. Grandfathers is 30 now. Grandfathers are 30 in the hood, man. So we could be great grandfathers in this case. Yeah. You know, this whole thing is like, you know, it's say something that means something. And make it short, make it quick, get to the point, and then, you know, don't do no accounting, because when you tell somebody something, you're not God. You just tell it and keep it moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's real,
man. That's real shit.
I've never done accounting on what I said. So somebody said, "Man, Chuck, man, you said this. Are you disappointed?" I'm like, I ain't God, man. You know, I'm gonna say what I'm about to say. As a person that's looking out as an elder, I mean, I've assumed the elder statesman thing since I was 27, man. Remember when I came in, I was 27. The average age of somebody in hip-hop was 17. LL was 17, Rakim 18. You know, most cats was in 21, 22. I'm talking about older cats that was 21, 22. I was already 27 when the Yo Bummer show was done. So I already always carried myself like an OG, because I was.
Yeah.
So that's why me and Ice-T can, you know, end up being brothers, because Ice-T is my elder by a couple of years, and he was somebody that came in from the West, and I came from the East, and when we actually used to do the tours, we used to always have a meeting between all the groups, and we would get in one room on day one and just have a powwow with everybody. Say, everybody do what they do, but understand we all in this together. The first group that open up, we support you, and the last group that close it down, we make sure everything rolls out and on to the next city. And these things didn't happen until Ice-T and Public Enemy was able to get onto and set a precedent. What has happened, I think, over the last 15 years is a lack of togetherness. You don't see a lot of tours come through. You might see shows come through St. Louis, but you don't see national tours. The last national tour that we actually wanted to set a precedent is when we organized the King of the Mic tour with us, Cube, LL, and De La Soul, and Chuck Chillout, and Z-Trip. And we wanted to just set a statement saying, this could be done city to city, state to state by the new acts. But if the new acts don't come together, and if the acts who are so city to city, building to building, and then not only do it, people see, and you know, you got to carry 7 groups. They can't go there on their own, and that's what, if you the big dog, then you got to operate like the big dog and carry the mid-size and the little dogs around so they can be big dogs too.
Right.
Let me. Somebody's calling me right now. Hold on 1 second. I'll put you on. Right. Hold on 1 second.
Chris, this is some good shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody was. I had overlapping interviews, but I got a couple minutes, 30 seconds or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, hey. Well, I'll tell you what, Chuck. We'll tell everybody about the album to go get it. We'll play the song too. Can you give us a drop real quick before you go?
Yes, I can, gentlemen.
Okay. The name of the radio station is UGS Radio.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Yo, check this out. Chuck the Public Enemy. That's with my people. That's right. UGS Radio. That's right. They play me. Sure enough, man plans, but God laughs.
Chuck, you're a great person, man. I can't wait to meet you in the flesh. Take care of yourself and be safe, man.
Right now, don't let me walk by y'all. Y'all don't say nothing to me now.
No, we will, man. Especially if something like,
throw a rock at me or something.
like I say, if you when you skip to the loo, if you see the motherfucking arch, man, I'm gonna be right by that.
Yeah, man, you know, and you know what? I've yet to go to Ferguson. I've been called to go to Ferguson so many times. I mean, so many times I've been in the loop because I was so mad at the damn the radio station out there for not being able to be the broadcast network of what was going on in Ferguson. So, but
well, when you get ready to come to Ferguson, make sure you hit me up, and I'll make sure you get over there. All right?
Yes, sir.
That's how we gonna do it.
All right, now. All the best, y'all.
Take care, Chuck.
Yep.